Alrighty then, gamers! Welcome aboard the Bounty Hunters. The what train? Bounty Hunters train. Yeah, that's a start for sure. But yeah, yeah, Bounty Hunters time. I guess that's the intro. So yeah, we're playing show matches once again tonight in this funny little game called Guilty Gear Strive. Format is once again first to 7 wins, and fights are crafted with skill-based matchmaking in mind so that every bout is as exciting as possible. As you've probably come to know, this match is extremely tight, perfectly handcrafted. Only 6-7 matches. You know the vibes. You watched last week. I'm your usual host QK, and now let us see what's in store for tonight. And we have the following 6 matches. You can see on the screen. I did want to say that it was almost the zoning Sunday kind of a deal, but I guess that's not quite necessarily it. We do start with 3 matches where you have very carefully sort of dictated roles. The close range, the infighter, represented there by Biken, Potemkin, Slayer, against characters that can start from really far away: Venom, Testament, Axel. I guess those are like the most zoning-oriented character the game has to offer at the moment, I would argue. Then we have a couple of matches where it's more about mid-range. There's Ino versus Faust. Faust, more of a mid-range control character, I guess. Can do zoning. Has been able to do zoning in the history of Guilty Gear. Then on the 5th slot we've got Asuka, who is a lot of different things for sure. Good sort of categorized as a zoner versus another mid-range character, and then returning back to the formula where you have the character who needs to get in the last slot. Biken versus Happy Chaos. Happy Chaos can start from really far away, and Biken needs to go in. So lots of long-range battles in the roster for tonight. What other interesting qualities we have today? I did notice watching Frosty Faustings, or rather the sort of info sheets per what is the character split or the current characters present in the bracket still in Frosty Faustings Guilty Gear Strive. I did notice that there were the most popular character was actually Ino. We do have one Ino tonight, represented by Froyo. Very interested to watch more of Frosty's later. I think it starts at what time? At least the 2XKO starts at around 7. Not sure about Strive though. The top seed of the evening is going to be Vena versus Zulck in that number 5 slot match. It's been quite a while since we've seen Vena, one of the top Asuka forces in this region, which is one of the more newer faces on Bounty Hunters. Zulck, I think, had their debut match last week, was it? Very high level fight. And then an interesting match in the last slot where we have 2 US competitors making their debuts tonight, the pair Dingo and Sane. But yeah, that's gonna be the story for tonight. Let's jump into player cards and call the players in. So Sane has been rocking Bounty Hunters, I think, every single event for like 3-4 weeks for now, something of the sort. Much newer out of these 2 players, but going super strong, very committed. Tibisu, definitely one of the crowd favorites, because we have I do think we have quite a few French viewers here and there, and the Frenchies are definitely looking out for their own, so to speak. And Tibisu has been one of the super popular players. in the past rocking that Sane first, now more of a Venom player, which is really cool to see. A character that not necessarily presented as much in the like super top level meta. It's always a pleasant sort of change of pace to see those characters also as often as possible. I guess you could argue the sort of the starting roster is a lot of those off-meta characters. I think zoners are a little less prominent in Guilty Gear Strive due to the nature of the game. So seeing 3 in a row, super cool. Starting off with Baiken versus Venom. So there is no doubt Venom, one of the best characters to control the neutral, the pace of the match, especially horizontally on the ground, but has a lot of different trajectories as well. And Baiken, one of the rare cases of you actually like your neutral capabilities with your normals, your pokes are pretty limited, but once you do get in, you are in a really great position to convert into a lot of damage and mix the opponent up. And you do kind of need the right spacing for neutral as well, because like your best buttons, the S1s especially, like far slash, very great button if you are in the range to use that move, 9 frame and everything, but you do need to get like relatively close to be able to convert that, even closer than its like maximum range. I guess Venom has a little bit of that issue as well with some of these pokes. Like Venom also doesn't convert from far slash too much, but then again, if your gameplay can consist of stuff like this that we've seen so far this round from Tibisu, I guess it's fair and balanced that you don't necessarily get too much. In fact, one of the tools that we were talking about first, oh that thought we got Sane with a way in, prompting a burst from Tibisu, and then we go into the Stinger, can pick a couple of different angles. Stinger, of course, offers to the extremely fast fireball option on the ground, limiting the opponent horizontally. But you can go airborne as well and shoot sort of airborne Stingers, or set your balls to bounce around otherwise. We're taking the corner, and that's gonna be too fast, too furious for Tibisu that time to react to. In the first round here, Sane pouncing forward, the instant air dash. Yosan into a big counter hit, 6 heavy. Tibisu does get up out though, buys a little bit of real estate there. Big cleave on the Yosan once again in the air, hitting basically everywhere, and empowered by that string that holds us together, bringing home the rewards. Sane is starting super strong. I think this is also the first time that we see Sane on bike, and the 2 previous appearances have been on Johnny. I'm not actually super sure how, like what the discrepancy of power levels is between Sane's different characters. I guess we are going to learn about it sooner rather than later. Nice! Covering the escape of the corner with the 2 balls, so that it's super hard to challenge for Sane. Now, the first of the Angels of Darkness has been sent to hold down the fort, to push opponent all the way up to the corner, and bring a biblical amount of wall break and mix-up into the lives of all of these gorillas that we have in Guilty Gear Strive. FD there, trying to push Sane away from active range. Now with the tether attached, does dislodge there at the end of the string. Giving Tibisu exactly what you need. A little bit of space to retreat to if shit hits the fan, so to speak. Oh, the jump, he actually goes to the wrong direction. No worries, we'll spend meter, we'll fix that. Let's see if Sane gets to spend some of his own resources. Doesn't look like. It's almost a complete reversal of what was the first game. Sane extremely dominant at start, and then Tibisu was like, okay, I see how it's gonna be, and I see how that 6-speed ended up unfolding there. Thank you so much, Mr. Ishibatari, for these excellent anti-air buttons that Guilty Gear franchise has been known for. These backwards 6-speeds that have been part of the franchise for a very long time. Alright, taking the throw from that Dark Angel. Lots of frame advantage, of course, available for this character. Stinger. Sorry, not Stinger, the Carcass Shred. The usual culprit. Again, the backwards 6p. I mean, I guess it does make sense. If you have a really good hitbox on your 6p, or maybe even like a good hurt box, characters who do shove themselves around the world, so to speak, such as Baiken's Yozan, can end up shoving yourself into it, even if the hit comes from the backside, so to speak. Tries to go for a 6 heavy counter hit. Frame trap doesn't quite find the mark, but in the follow-up situation, Sane does manage to attach the Kabari, break the wall, and now lots of resources available. The problem, I guess, is if you do want to spend that meter on bike inside, firing up the gun, the super, not necessarily best bang for your buck. You might be able to get a hard knockdown or like a knockdown of some sort, but then what? And also, these stingers, oh, we go for the air gun instead. However, Sapai managed to get value out of it. Now, this super is a little bit more to what we're expecting when you're like sinking 50 meter into it and just basically saying, my time. As they do say in slightly different franchises that have been released as of recent. I guess the Dark Angel is sort of similar function to the gun. I mean, like if you're using the biking gun as a neutral tool, I guess it's more suited to maybe pressure and combos, whereas Dark Angel has always been extremely multifaceted tool, can be used for almost anything, depending on how you want to go about your meter management business. Look at that, the Carcass Shred off the floor, ricocheting upwards. Unless you're extremely fast or if your angle is perfect, ain't gonna get over that. A couple of balls in motion. One more attached above. Both players spending meter, trying to avoid the last decisive hit. It's gonna be a KD into just a simple close slash. The characters who don't have any sort of reversal kind of have to respect that Oki for the most part. Delayed too heavy round start for Sane. Maybe a little too delayed. The button too heavy itself from Biken is quite slow. You might have to hit it very early if you want to catch the opponent on their recovery frames. Set it into Flint jump D hit. We go again. And Sane does have an option to unleash that burst, but might be looking to hold for potentially better prospects next round. Although there is a chance to come back here. It might end up actually being Tibisu who has to think about the burst. Drifting into, can we get past the blaster radius? No, sir. Plus frames from the gun as well. I think the ground version is usually plus, whereas the air version, not necessarily so. Speaking of air versions of those fireballs, going airborne, sending that stinger. Another really great 6p, paying attention to the most common way to sort of get into a fighting position for Biken players, the instant air dash jump slash. Would love to do that, and well, here's a really good here's a really good instant air dash there. Didn't quite get in on the first one, but the second one does yield a throw. Dark Angel and a couple of balls. What can we do with that? Ooh, the Dark Angel itself ends up pushing Sane a little bit too far, so missing those command grabs. There's a lot of forward moving momentum. Oh no! The wire she ends up whipping. Although doesn't seem to end up mattering too much. Recovering before Sane gets onto the ground. Now first reversal parry of the set. Can we convert off of that? The neutral jump works out for Tibisu, but not quite out of the corner just yet. The starter step forward, close slash, big counter hit. The deed is not done yet. Finding another one. Sane keeps it tight and close. As even as they come. Don't give me a disconnect this early into the set. But you will, won't you? Won't you, Strive? Won't you? Of course you will. Okay. Get back to the lobby. Let's see if we can still salvage this. Might lose a game, might not. We'll see how it goes. Okay, looks like we're gonna get a sandbag out of the game, so not gonna lose any footage. But yeah, so far, both players' game plans unfolding sort of rather evenly. Whenever Sane has been able to get in, it's the kind of aggression, the kind of very dominant close range oppression you would expect from Baiken players. And on the other hand, the game plan for Tibisu is completely opposite. You just want to keep the opponent away, and Tibisu also like consciously opting to lean a little bit more on the zoning as well, which is a very sort of, I guess, common way to play this character in Guilty Gear Strive. There are a couple of different play styles. You could lean a little bit more in on the setups, the set play kind of vibes, but you could also opt to play it really safe, and when you get those hits, not necessarily forcing the Okizeme options, not risking that if the opponent wire sees you, bursts you, you might have to go... You might have to block some pressure from the opponent. You can, of course, negate that by just keeping it long range and opting to go for smaller, shorter conversions, taking more quotations guaranteed damage. Oh, but here's a guaranteed situation for Sane. Did end up stealing the corner with plus frames, and that burst is gonna put Sane back against the corner, able to break out of there though, and building decent resources where one hit could be a kill. Tibisu, of course, does recognize that. Tries to build a little bit of distance first with the wire C. The up arrow button does not pay off. I think Sane ended up going under. It's exactly the kind of quick work that Viking can make of you. To flip the position, so now there is real estate to run to, potentially. Sane on the hunt though, attaches the S-Cup, but it goes under with a too heavy big counter hit. Immediate burst as the blue burst becomes available. Counter poke there with the super gun, immediately breaking the wall as well, having that super property. But now the back throw, what can we do with that OTG? Intercept ball into... Looks like there was some difficulties there, some sort of missed input, or perhaps a panic reaction in the heat of the moment. It's always tough when you are down in life and or rounds as well. When you finally manage to get a way out and get an opportunity to set your pressure. Early burst here from Tibisu. Very common to see, especially for characters of this archetype, very common to see like early bursts in order to maximize the amount of blue burst, maximize the amount of combo breakers, momentum breakers that you can have access to. Because for these characters, one of the most important feature is to return back to the game that they're the best at playing, the neutral. And from the other point of view, negating the victory condition of the opponent, which is to just be next to you and pummel you to death. And pummel does Sane indeed. Another very successful round here. The too heavy actually chasing the backdash there. I wonder if Tibisu actually extended himself into that one. Got the 5D, however, without some sort of ball coverage or the classic 50 tension, there is no converting out of that. The jump D actually ends up stealing the corner in a really bad way. Missed a hit on Sane as well. Lots of balls in motion. Dash blocking is a powerful move here that you see Sane doing a lot, especially like dash blocking through certain very stacked ball formations is usually recommended. It's much easier to outsmart like one incoming ball compared to, you know, trying to dodge like 3 or even 4 balls at once. Ooh, big drive by Yozan, stealing the corner, getting 1/3 of the life. Yozan hitting from the front, that is still plus, isn't it? Ooh, another corner steal. And Tibisu is still very far away from that burst. Tries to go for another one straight out of that meaty tatami mat. Instant air dash, was expecting, was basically trusting that Tibisu had that anti-air reaction on point. And indeed, the 6P comes out, gets baited by the air gun. very important kind of layer if you want to enforce that sort of getting in through the air. Against an opponent who is really good with those anti-airs, knows how to position themselves in the best places and has the timing correct, I guess like one of the only things that you could do is just instant air dash in roll, hold block and take pressure afterwards, or then hold your momentum with that air gun. Instant air dash Yosen once again. Ooh, nice interruption there. The Escapade is quite slow, as you might imagine, being plus frames on block and enabling some of the best rewards for Bike, and Tibisu ended up interrupting that with far slash. Now burst has been used as well. Dark Angel is available. Ooh, that was a big 6 heavy whip there. Probably a misinput on something. Oh no! Lands out of the air, fireball straight into the counter hit recovery. But Sane doesn't quite manage to seal the deal right there. YRC, the last of Tibisu's resources. Now Sane is technically in a good position if we could just get into the close range distance. 100 to burn. But do we get to another opportunity? That's one of the downsides of the air fireballs. If you end up completely whiffing, you do land into a very compromised position. Luckily for Tibisu though, that ends up not being a punish situation. This time at least. I guess that's sort of, well, both of the versions of the Stinger, both the grounded version and the air version, another good 6p. Both the air and the ground versions have their downsides. Of course, air version vulnerable against if the opponent is too close and dashing forward. If you do miss, that is usually the most common case, where the misses end up happening if the opponent is advancing on you really fast. But then the grounded Stinger generally has a very simple solution in instant air dash. But of course, it's not as trivial. It's very dangerous to go for that read. You can't do that on reaction. The fireball is extremely fast. And if you guess incorrectly, if you instant air dash at the opponent and Tibisu is looking, which has been happening quite often, you are gonna get 6 speed. Not this time though. The upper 2p doesn't quite manage to finish into the Stinger, which is usually the finishing touch there. Back throw into the OTG 2D again, sets up the command grab. Ooh, what do we go here? Jump K into... Okay. Oh, is that plus though? So he's safe this time. And Sane with a lot of juice in the tank. This could almost be it. 100. Can we get to the wall? Unfortunately not. Misses the ender here, but ends up being a Grandmaster bait. Drawing out the reversal throw from Tibisu. Ends up whiffing in the end. Back to the edge of the corner you go. Here's an instant air dash. Not quite early enough. Did get the jump slash out, but not intercepting the prey. It's a really interesting position here. You can have balls on, basically on call on somewhere around the stage and still keep on zoning with the whatchamacallit, the Stinger. Those balls are always unused potential, depending on how they are placed. Oh, but there's another great snipe with an instant air dash, forcing Tibisu to go for that last bar of tension. But it does pay off, getting Biken off your ass, getting out of the corner into the pressure position, especially when they are at such a low amount of health. Those are the kind of situations where you can turn on the heat and force the pressure as well, if you're looking for basically one more hit. It is all risk and reward calculations. Tibisu with a great mix of the mid-range pokes and the fireballs. Oh, a couple of carcasses. Are you gonna jump? A couple of those carcass raids would also be a potential. Oh, but the instant air dash from a perfect angle. Counter hit as well. So still locked down in the corner. No burst available. Both players 100 meter and life situation is equalized. Drifting forward to 2p. Oh, if the battle was anything else but 2p, I betcha there would have not been time to press anything. Or rather, it would have been in Tibisu's favor. Another great 6P. Doesn't matter where the opponent is, even if they are above you, passing over you, Venom 6P still works wonders, as it has basically always have. Used to be a complete demon tool in the previous iteration of Guilty Gear, the Exert version, but still extremely nice tool to have. Not the most damaging, but characters. Oh, hold that thought! We get an interception here. Instant air dash, jump slash once again. YRC to negate the mix-up. I like that. The go-to mix-up for Baiken basically requires you to commit either to the low or the high. There isn't really like safe kind of ways to play it, so firing off the YRC usually a pretty okay option. I guess in that way, Deflect Shield would also be a potential candidate. Tibisu goes in the leading position here as we are drawing near to the end of the set slowly. I mean, this is still kind of like end game, not end game, but mid game kind of a situation here. Coming off that 4-4, moving into 4-5, finding a frame trap here with the 2S. Immediate burst from Sane. It's really great for a zoner if you manage to sort of procure the opponent's burst or draw out the opponent's burst resources very early into the round. Now they don't have access to, I guess most prominently, that Wild Assault, although you could argue that Sane hasn't been using the Wild Assault too much so far either. More aggressive version of the burst here, Tibisu putting Sane momentarily into the corner. Quick instant air dash gets Sane out of there though. The frame, oh, I love that. Even if you miss the throw, if you go for the throw, I always think about it's so much better risk reward if you can if you can option select it with a PRC. Be it on offense, be it on defense, it doesn't matter. Even if you're attacking, all of those situations get like infinitely more safer if you do have the 50 tension in the tank. Ooh, the 2 heavy actually not going under there, sending the ball in motion with the 5K. And now Sane holding still onto the burst. Interesting. Going for a slightly different Yomi layer here, expecting Tibisu probably to drop their combo. Yet, no combos were dropped that day. No hard reach on the burst, which I think is a very strong layer, I want to say. A lot of people look at the fancy burst baits and keep saying, damn, I want to do that. I want to be the guy making the biggest play of the century. But I think you can be pretty okay without ever baiting a burst, in my opinion, as well. That's a really viable school of thought in fighting games. 2. Because like there is always value to be gained from the opponent bursting, as long as you're not getting bursted into the corner. That's the most dangerous situation. Ooh, drops the combo. It's okay. We still have pressure. Plus frames and counting. Sane breaking out of the corner with just a sliver amount of life in the life bar. And as you would expect, it's gonna be a little too difficult this time around. Set point Tibisu. From that 4-4 position, Tibisu was, I think, down around for the most of the set. But then, playtime is over. We're done messing around. This is the ultimate zoning action that Guilty Gear Strive has to offer. The Kabari is attached with a fairly okay trade, I want to say. Wastes a lot of time on that Kabari. The burst comes online. The string has been detached. With the stagger pressure, 2K doesn't quite manage to find a conclusive hit. Stinger pushes Sane back to neutral. The dangerous proposal here is that Tibisu is still back against the corner, which is gonna be a problem here. I think this is a kill. 6 heavy deals enough damage. Boom. Sane potentially still in it. He's still a set point. We need another one to live. The instant air dash not gonna be the right option this time around. Goes under that ball though. 2 heavy doing some work. It's all timing and spacing for that tool. It's very slow to get the low profile frames started, but as soon as they start, they do go under a lot of things. YRC towards the corner. We are trying to intercept. However, the Sane's signature instant air dash out of the combo, corner, with or without the Yozan, has been working out pretty well. It's been so difficult keeping Sane in there. But then again, like, most of the value comes from this mid-screen situation. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem like it has mattered too much for Tibisu whether we get the rewards here or whether we get the rewards in the corner. But now, speaking of the corner, you're gonna drop this demon situation. Lots of proration. Is that gonna be enough though? Yes, indeed. Sane is low enough. The Triumph Baka is the required rewards. Threshold passed. 7-4 from Tibisu, continuing to take out foe after foe. Can't remember exactly, but this is, I think this is, like, if memory serves correctly, I think most of Tibisu's games as of recent have been really, really, well, I mean, not necessarily like complete domination, but have been favorable results for Tibisu, and this would be no exception here. Good match either way though. A great fast-paced entry to this week's Bounty Hunters, and I think it's probably not gonna be, or I'm not sure if the pace is gonna pick up or slow down here. Hard to expect. I think generally Testament does belong to the same, you know, category of sort of slowly played neutral, and Potemkin is definitely zonable. So we could be looking at a slightly lower tempo match here, but remains to be seen here. So Niemi entering the fray with the Potemkin against the Yappie's signature Testament. Potemkin does have some further range sort of responses to the zoning though, compared to Biken that we saw in the previous game. We do have Flick, we do have Sleight Head. I think the problem though is, or is there a problem? Is there a problem for Potemkin? Who knows? For a long time now, since the current season switch, and even before that, Potemkin has been kind of that public enemy number one, where, yes, he is still Potemkin, the same sort of limitations apply. You are close, or rather, your best range is close range. You are a grappler, so you need to, like, in certain, like to a certain extent, you do have to work your way in still. But the ways, I guess the ways that Potemkin does work himself in haven't changed that much, but the measures that you can apply once you are in have definitely gotten a little bit better over time. Such as adding, you know, armor frames to the Buster, and other cool features like so. So Yappie, with the Testament, the game plan is going to be the same as we saw early from Tibisu. Keep the opponent out at all costs. In certain cases, in certain matchup, and depending on your playstyle, it might be favorable way to play the game is that you never go in on Potemkin if possible, and try to minimize your sort of close range pressure game if it's, you know, if that kind of thing is available for your character. Like, of course, some characters, like, you know, if you're an infighter like Giovanna or Soul or characters like that, there is no choice. You have to go in. There's no other way to play the game. But these long-range characters, such as like Testament and Venom, they do have other avenues, other angles of potentially playing. And it's not like you can't play Rushdown with these characters either. And in fact, I think Yappie is one of the aficionados of the possession, the teleport, which becomes available when you get your either one of your Grave Reapers unleashed. Oh, speaking of that tool, Niemi was ready for that. It's a tough gamble to take if you do manage to get in with the possession. I mean, I guess your best reward generally is close/pressure, getting close/pressure started. But in the worst possible case, you might be getting counter hit as the opponent is camping your succubus marker, as Niemi was there. Right, air dash out of the corner. The rare footage of Niemi being very high up in the air actually goes under Niemi. Now teleporting into 2K2D, we have a succubus marker using the threat there. When that is available, there is basically always a frame trap available into the curse apply, sending the crow. Yappie utilizing the threat, the scare of that. Oh, producing an extra shockwave, extra hit there with the red Roman cancel. Good stand on the overhead. Now Gigantor Kai to the other side. We're making a little bit of a sandwich here. Oh no, Yappie managed to get the hit. Does get away with potentially murder here. Reached into the cookie jar, poked at Niemi, got sandwiched into the Gigantor, but then still managed to break out. Oh, nice, teleported during the travel time of that Hammerfall. The Hammerfall has been slowed down, I think, in sort of the modern patches. Oh, okay, teleport into the corner and getting a whiff punish there still. Not like super high amount of damage available for Yappie's Testament from all of these, you know, successful reads, but hey, that's kind of how like fighting games tend to play out. You have good neutral, you have more avenues of playing the game, you also are, in those cases, gonna deal a little bit less damage than the characters who are locked into those close ranges! Speaking of the close range, come here for a hug! Big 50% opener here. Need only 2 or 3 of those for Potemkin to wrap around. Curse has been applied and getting an extended heart knockdown here as the projectile pops the curse. You can only pop them with the, whatchamacallit, the Arbiter sign though, which to balance it up is kind of a slow startup generally. Ooh, teleports in place, so Niemi pouncing forward with the Hammerfall. But again, the Hammerfall, oh, goes for a third one. Third time's the charm. If you unleash Hammerfall from too far away, it does lose momentum after sort of the midpoint of the travel. Utilizing the armor point though. Absorbing the hit, going for the big buster. Guard crush, not the third time. Yappie ain't gonna fall for that again. A very respectable Testament damage from the close range starter. Oh, not believing in the block string. I think that's one of the strings that Yappie usually likes to go for. The miss the air fireball into a throw. But Niemi does predict it, does grab the opponent, breaks their back, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, it's 1 point per player.
Duel 1.
Yeah, that's the downside. If you end up choosing to pressure Potemkin, you do risk getting yourself grabbed out of those gaps if you leave them. And I mean, generally, you kind of do want to leave gaps in your pressure. Generally, you just can't leave gaps larger than like 5 frames. What's the frame where Potemkin Buster's armor actually activates? We're gonna tread carefully. That's, oh, that Matrix teleport there, and out of the Buster as well. Yappie with some really cool movements teleports out of the Hammerfall as well. Look at that dapper fella go! Teleport again. Oh, this time Niemi chose the right button and right timing for the job. Jump slash, catching the exit from the possession, and then managed to break in once again. I mean, these kind of escapes and subverting the opponent's expectation and dancing around them are kind of cool, but in the end of the day, or rather at the end of the day, you do need to deal the damage somehow, which is usually going close to the opponent and getting maybe grabbed out of your pressure sequence. That's definitely not what you are hoping for. Teleport right below. Gotta be very careful. Potemkin has pretty decent jump ins. That jump slash is super deep, as is the jump heavy, as is the jump D. And another buster secures a round for Niemi.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Yeah, teleporting under Potemkin, probably not the best prospects for just about anybody. I guess you want to have, like, if Potemkin goes airborne, it's definitely in your favor to be as horizontally away from them as possible. Because, like, if Potemkin can't reach you with a jump slash or a jump D to introduce more, like, jumping, RPS, then you're just in a safe position to, like, push them far away. Do the girls reach? Yes, indeed. Leaving the curse untouched. It's gonna pop from that close slash, getting maybe a little bit too much of a juggle there. Steal the corner, takes the risk. It ends up paying off. Backdash against. Ooh, the timing of the strike is good. This time not getting absorbed by the armor frame of Hammerfall. It's a little difficult to utilize that armor frame, or what I'm speaking of exactly is the Hammerfall break armor frame. You get like a short momentary extra extended frame of armor if you do choose to break, but it has to be timed perfectly if you want to absorb stuff with it still. Into the guard crush we go. This time close slash into another guard crush. Tries to backdash. However, the long-ranging sight far slash does catch Niemi initially, but we are not out of the danger zone, and Niemi keeps pushing. Niemi keeps pressuring, approaching. Oh, there we go. Again, absorbing the sort of the strike portion of the fireball there. Once again with the the Hammerfall break frame. All right, we are out of there. Smell you later. Says Yappie, leaving only a jump K behind. We does have a cross-up properties there as well. Oh no, that's definitely a gap. Tried to leave the pressure string at a 2S. Using enough hits with the fireballs. I wonder how does the stain pop actually interact with the armor? So if you, I guess that like if you strike into the armor as stain is applied on them, the strike itself would get absorbed, and then the stain is gonna be resolved a couple of frames afterwards, and depending on your state. Well, if you don't get hit, I guess it's about, like, do you get hit or not? So if you do, that's gonna be... that's not gonna be great for you, because the stain pop is also usually neutered because of that. Ooh, able to get multiple hit strike in there. But again, Niemi's just so good at using the absorb frame of the Hammerfall break. I've seen so far maybe like 10 different instances where Niemi is absorbing strikes or fireballs with it. It is to a certain extent a risky maneuver, sort of, you know, you are kind of trusting your instincts to be able to be in that armored state at the exact perfect timing. A couple of really good fireballs, 6 heavy, the big psych slam, taking Niemi out of the sky momentarily, but now we are closing into the corner. Oh, that's so beautiful. Dashing forward, sees the Hammerfall come out, throw it. Don't risk it. No matter what the opponent does out of that would be a nice OTG. Yeah, generally, like, one of the easiest ways to get in, spending 50 meter for Potemkin, is to slam your opponent in the face with the Hammerfall and then RC. But if you do throw it on reaction, if you don't let the hit even go through, then there is not going to be any sort of meter burn shenanigans at all. Again, the escape from the corner using possession. Set up the curse. Yeah, but powering through once again. And is slightly lower on life, although it's also usually just trying to use the armor. I think specifically the heat tackle there, trying to take yourself airborne. You get caught by Yappie's fireballs. Here's a fireball for you though. Oh no! Niemi doesn't have enough life to play with it. That is the grappler proposition. A lot of the times you are trying to power through with either armor or just sheer, you know, I don't care if I get hit, I'll just do it kind of a mindset. But when you run too low on that life resources, you can't really do that anymore. Oh, again, a nice teleport escape. Niemi, smelling blood in the water, was trying to wait for that burst for a couple of frames, but in the end, resumed the pressure, which gave Yappie the opportunity to get a successful burst out. 100 in the bank. Do we get to use it? I think that this deals quite a lot of hits, which is, the more hits you deal, the better it is for guts crushing. Although I think Testament doesn't have the highest guts either. Again with the teleport, the jump K ends up landing on an armor frame once again, resulting in Buster. But now, teleporting into a close slash, both players whipping a throw there. Hello! Potemkin, even with the extended throw range, ended up not getting the throw through. Huh. Slide head straight into set up Gigantor, send the counter force, send the girls. Buy us a little bit of time. Can we jump over? No, we thought we go for it with the ball. The mix-up using the heat tackle, crossing up at a critical moment, generating this completely fucked up kind of a cross-up situation. But I think it was like, it has to be said, there was an opportunity to escape it for Yappie. While the girls were pummeling on Niemi, there may have been an opportunity to advance in on the opponent and leave the mirror behind, but hey, these are the kind of choices that we have to make and live with. It's not like, you know, getting close to the Potemkin player is risk-free either. And now we're gonna repeat, sending the super this time. Is the mirror gonna do enough damage? No, backdashing out of the slide head and then missing a 6p. And since those 6ps are quite normalized nowadays, even the fastest recovery 6ps that used to be god tier buttons, I mean, that is not to say that Testament 6p still wouldn't be a god tier button, but has gained a little bit in recovery, if I recall correctly. Ooh, got caught by the 6 heavy here. Tries it again, this time not quite close enough. Yappie finds a hit, but not able to convert. Niemi strikes back. That is basically the grappler greed, the grappler creed with a C. If you miss your combo, if you miss your sequence, I am ready to take advantage of that. God, there are so many spectator DCs as of recent. Dreaming of a better Guilty Gear Strive. Maybe one day. Maybe one day it's gonna be good. Maybe the Fabled 2.0. Maybe. Maybe, baby. I sure do hope so. Rather even so far. Wait, have I had the names completely wrong? Because Yappie is on the left side. I think the names have been reversed all the way through, huh? Huh. Maybe I'm dumb. Okay, we got players back in the room. Sandbag has been processed. And we resume from this. Or wait, did I? No. Niemi was the player who won the last one before the spectator DC, right? Did I forget to put the
Duel 1
lobby on rematch? I guess we're gonna figure it out sooner or later. Niemi starting with a round start handle for break into a buster. Does it again. Can we get a third one? This time a close slash. Oh, those are not great trades. Yappie hanging by the thread. Gets a jump off, but unfortunately another trade into that. I think that was a close slash from Niemi. Oh, there we go. The hammerfall break again. Breaks in front of the opponent. This time with a 2K. Mix it up a little. Don't let them know what you're actually doing. Well, the 5D was probably not what Yappie was hoping for. And now spending the 50 meter. Is it gonna be enough? Multi-hit. I think this time Yappie is alive still, but just a little bit. But how do we flip this around? Plants the succubus marker. Doesn't unfortunately get to utilize it. 5-3. For the first time, one of these players has been able to build a slight amount of momentum, maybe critical amount of momentum here as we are progressing into the mid-game matches. Now presented with this not very... Oh, nice, I love that again. Sees the hammerfall coming in. I wonder if Yappie is reacting to it or if that's just a hard creep. I mean, to be fair, Niemi is relying on the hammerfall a lot. So if you know it's coming, then you could feasibly hard commit to a dash forward and just think, okay, I think they will do it. I'm not gonna react to anything. I'm just gonna commit and do it and beat their armor. Oh, but then if you dash forward and hard commit to something like that, you might just walk into one of these big buttons such as the 6 heavy or the flick. So it's not exactly risk-free. Everything comes with a cost. Oh my god, getting counter hit out of the air. Doesn't quite manage to pick it up, but maintaining the agenda, maintaining the corner is the most important thing. Powering through the round start 2S from Testament. Reach a jump, not this time. Here it comes, the hammerfall once again. Falling extremely hard. Teleport out of the corner, yep. The response was indeed hammerfall. So getting out of there, but here we go! With the PRC this time. One of the classic Potemkin tricks. Oh, and there is enough life to power through once again. Niemi picking up critical steam into the 6-pointer. What now? How do we reverse this situation? How do we make that hammerfall stop? It comes again. Here we go. I mean, at this point, it's basically open information. We are going to armor through. And Niemi is basically asking, so what? What is your response? Ooh, that's a cool response, though. Punishing with the 2K2D on landing. Now, hammerfall does reach. Close slash catching the backdash as well. The big grappler close slash. Plus frames out of the... Oh, nice, I like that. And the jump K is, I think, from the instant air's jump K, that's usually impossible to convert as well, unless you have resources or Sane. Steals the corner. Oh, but that ends up being a bad idea. Bad idea for Niemi's jump slash. Actually ends up auto-correcting to the right direction. Now with the standard jump in string. Yeah, I like that. I like not skipping the jump heavy fireball there in order to keep the block string safe and sound, disallowing Niemi from trying to bust her out of the pressure. A good backdash, completely evading the guard crush. Ooh, but that is just a single hit. I think you would have to hit like in a very specific angle. Speaking of angles, oh my goodness. Niemi just closing in. Neither player has the resources here for tension tricks for now. Was that a momentary positive bonus or negative penalty? Oh, teleporting straight in the close slash. That was dangerous. And here we go with the 6 heavy. Retracting your hurt box, or basically not extending your hurt box on the startup and then reaching maximal distance. It is a very risky button, but surprisingly okay addition to your toolkit that you can try to counter the opponent's far range pokes with. Staying still on until it was not. Niemi finding the hit. This is set point. This could be it. Commits to the PRC throw. Yappie gets out of there. Are we still alive? Stain is on. Pop plus frames. Sent the marker again. Take the corner. Gotta be careful in order to not get contained in the corner. Oh no, is this how it's gonna end? Stands up for the overhead. Yappie's out of there. Instant air jump slash. Sorry, jump K. Needs one more hit. Trade is okay as well. But the mirror is a problem. How do we overcome it? It's gonna be multi-hits. Can't break here. Into the guard crush. Again, gold burst. We have value. We check with the low. Basically saying, even if you mash that hammer fall, it's not gonna survive. You still have to take this damage. Yappie is alive by just a thread. But I mean, 4-6 is not too far away either. Definitely still Yappie's game to make a comeback. But we have to play flawlessly. The amount of mistakes you can make against Potemkin is very limited. Okay, that's an interesting trade. Trades into the Crow, which makes the curse still apply on the opponent and doesn't dissipate immediately. Interesting, that's the first time I actually see that. Go under, come back. Oh, the movement, the angle ends up not working for Yappie, unfortunately. Started with the Mecha Fist, counter hit. Block on the overhead once again. Has to go for a burst here. Teleport under, close slash, and then disengage. A lot of the Testament fireballs do have multiple hits, but the sort of the first strike portion of the fireball requires you to be close already. There we go, drifting forward. Red RC breaks the armor and puts Yappie in a really nice situation. Can't quite get the hard knockdown here, but now 100 in the tank. We could go for Nostrovia. Goes for the super. Oh no, that's gonna be punished by the mirror. Doesn't take the biggest amount of damage, but now Niemi does have positive bonus, and you know what that means. We are going onto the wall, forcing the wall break, and I think that's gonna be it. Niemi takes it 7-4 over Yappie. The armor through goodness. The armor supremacy playstyle triumphing over single hits, single projectile strikes. Sorry, the other way around. Single strike, single projectile hits. And ends up buying the victory today for Niemi. Yeah, it's tough. That is exactly how Potemkin loves to play in the modern Guilty Gear. I mean, has always kind of played like that, but now you have a little bit more leeway for sort of how you unga forward. I think in Guilty Gear Strive. Much more mobile kind of a grappler compared to what he used to be, I want to say. Alright, next, and maybe the last true zoner versus getting close and personal archetype kind of a match here is going to be Hoplan Slayer versus Fire's Axel. So one of Hoplan's side projects, there is a couple of those. The main of course being Nagoriyuki. Sane has been the side hustle for quite a long while. But now it's on to the Slayer, the other Knightless. Definitely sharing certain similarities, not necessarily in the sort of the functionality of the kit, but very similar in spirit, in that you have sort of your own set of mobility tools, completely separate from the rest of the cast. Very strong close range, very strong at closing in on the opponent, and once you get there, extremely devastating damage these Knightless archetypes have to offer. I think that's definitely a shared quality between the characters that Hoplan likes to play. The ability to deal damage is there for all of the characters for sure. Axel, however, Axel is an interesting case because, like, Axel has changed quite a bit over time. And I think the further into the lifespan of Guilty Gear Strive we've progressed, the fewer the Axel players have grown in number. But we have at least one here in the form of fire. Now, one thing that has to be said is Axel is really great at abusing the sort of innate weaknesses of Slayer. Has always been really weak against characters that are good at controlling the sort of grounded horizontal screen space, and Axel is basically all about that, or that's like half of Axel's kit. The other half being good anti-airs. Very Street Fighter kind of character in that way. There are very few characters in Guilty Gear franchise who, who can control the ground this well. Which has kind of earned Axel the title of maybe being one of the few zoners that ever existed in Guilty Gear. I mean, maybe Justice. I mean, Justice is a very interesting case study. But, oh, the wires, he actually doesn't let Firu to get out of there. And now, for the first time, we are in the element. We are in the bloodletting business. Bloodletting, blood-sucking, I mean, both are good. Firu trying to, transitions into the neutral jump. Shimmy there. Catching the throw break attempt from Hoplan. Taking the first one for... Oh, we have the names incorrect as well. Let me fix that quick. There we go.
Duel 1.
Hoplan and Firu on the board. The Axel side. Starting off with 1. So this kind of matchup dichotomy certainly makes Slayer a little bit of a one-shot character, but I mean, Hoplan is definitely not stranger to that kind of playstyle as well. Oh, that was a very late RC there on the pile bunker. Trying to catch the opponent mashing, trying to go for the punish. And the bite followed up by a counter hit, the extended universe, the counter hit from outer space, if you will. Ooh, speaking of counter hits from outer space, the button too heavy is definitely, I think, in many matchups, a very relevant button, but might not play that much of a role in this one. Oh, I say that, but immediately, too heavy counter hit. All right, I'm just full of shit. That seems to be the MVP button for Hoplan so far. And again! Jesus Christ! Okay, never mind. Never listen to any of QK's analysis. Does activate the time stop, but Hoplan is like, freak that. I think that's a bluff. Yeah, this is how it's gonna be. If you slip even for a moment, if you let Slayer get their game started, the whole game could be over in a matter of seconds. That game can't have been more than like 40 seconds or something. 50, something like that. With a great counter hit conversion there from up a hunch. Lots of corner carry. Further extending the ability to catch the opponent from really far range positions. If it rings as a counter hit. Oh, speaking of the counter hits. Maybe was a little worried there. I'm not sure if Hoplan was worried about the burst or if the combo was gonna drop there. Nevertheless, we are still in the driver's seat. Frame trapping into the too heavy. Oh my goodness. I mean, even if it does not serve the function as a like mid-range low crush, it is still a fairly good button and one of the few buttons that you can use in certain frame trap situations. Into the wall break. We have the Super Mappa Hunch queued up as well. Hoplan's engine slowly getting started. And once it starts, it's really hard to make it stop. Really hard to cause like any sort of disruption in Hoplan's gameplay once you have the confidence flowing in the veins of this This young Terminator. Interception there with the 2 heavy. I do like anti-airs that quite a bit when you don't necessarily commit to your usual anti-airs, but instead play yourself into a position where you can just tag them on the landing instead. Who tries to go for it again, but this time Hoplan was close enough with that floaty instant air dash. Oh, that's gonna be a punish though. Hoplan might have actually been out of meter there. Was only able to build up to the 50 meter for after the fact. Pile bunker landed as a hit. Or was just waiting for a really extended, whatchamacallit, trying to make a really extended gap there. Oh, speaking of gapping. Hoplan closing it, but not closing it quite all the way till the end here. Oh my god, are you kidding me? The Mamba Hunch scoots under Rainwater, somehow putting Hoplan in the perfect position to strike the opponent out of the sky with a close slash, and then hammering it down. You bet your ass we know how this is gonna go down. So far, Hoplan also displaying really great ability to convert from some of these hard-hitting pokes. Like, it's one of the most tragic kind of ways to lose matches with the Slayer. When you have to work for those hits really hard, you finally get them, you get the counter hits, and then you drop some of your big loops. But so far, Hoplan hasn't been dropping too much. There we go with a really late PRC. Prompting a burst from Firu. The RC conversion, put the opponent in the corner. Oh my god, the neutral jump. Didn't keep the pressure string tight enough. Hoplan able to get a neutral jump out of there immediately after landing into the 2 heavy. That button has never let anybody down, right? Oh, speaking of which, that's actually, now that I think about it, that kind of limits Axel's ability to play certain ranges with buttons like 2P and 2 heavy, right? Does it crush 2P as well? Or does 2P just hit high enough? I'm actually not sure. Would need to bring out the, hitbox representation of those buttons. Oh, great interception. Into a quick tap. Hoplan absolutely on fire. If Firu doesn't manage to think of some sort of, adjustment here, very soon, it's gonna be a funeral in a matter of minutes. Oh, interesting. The 5P actually caught the startup of Slayer's 2D. I guess 2D doesn't low profile you that much. There is some. But you know what there is also? There's some punching through the wall for Hoplan for 1. And looking like there is gonna be no stops. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. The 2P does get low crushed by the Slayer 2 heavy. Into once again another great counter hit conversion. And powering through again, we can get actually a little bit of extra in the corner. Damn, Hoplan Slayer actually looks kind of fleshed out now that I think about it. Close slash from basically from the position that you would always dream being at. No matter which Knightless, close slash from under the opponent, there's almost nothing you can do about it. It's either take the big hit or get sort of vacuum onto the ground. Oh, that's gonna be a punish though. Wait, was that a real combo? That was a counter hit. Or was it? No, that was a full 5D lounge. No, that was just doubling up the close slash into a 5D. So Hoplan having a little bit of fun there. Powered up by the latest haiku. Oh, miss a button, go for a 2 heavy still. it's exactly like this kind of when the despair starts setting in and you just don't know, like you just can't get a say in the Slayer matchup. That's when stuff like that starts actually sinking in. That's when things like very delayed approaches such as like Master's Hammer or, you know, all sorts of other shenanigans start just plaguing you from left, from right, from, oh my god, with the whip punish using the dandy step. Yeah, it looks like Hoplan just can't do no wrong here. And again, Fire is in a really tough situation. All of the life gone. All Hoplan needs is one Mappa Hunch. Doesn't even need to be a counter hit. A whip punish Mappa Hunch here against the snail. Fire swings super hard. Was that 7 already? I mean, I believe it. I believe it. Let me check. Was it 7 already? I think we have rankings. No, it is 6. It is 6 wins for Hoplan. So there would be potentially one more game to be played. Oh, I see. Okay, so I guess it's towel angle here. So the win is gonna go for Hoplan today. Extremely, like, start after the first match, it was just basically a Hoplan show. It's understandable. It is definitely one of those characters that make you feel a lot of emotions. I would know, for I've been frustrated playing against Slayer since XX. The character is like, one really amazing thing is that they really did manage to sort of translate the spirit of Slayer from a completely like different kind of kit into the modern Guilty Gear. So that means, like, even if you weren't there back in the day, I think even the newer blood of Guilty Gear Strive have gotten the taste of like the despair, the everything, the Slayer experience that like Guilty Gear players across the globe have been basically living for the past couple of decades. But yeah, it's gonna conclude in favor of Hoplan this time around. Next one is gonna be yeah. Froyo had a couple of things to say. Let me take a short break here and check what the status is. Okay, we can. Let me investigate if we can play the other matchup first, because Froyo did have a really tight schedule and might not be home in time. I would say we've had a slightly faster than ever average sets tonight. Let me see the response from Froyo first. Sort of gather our bearings and see what the structure of the rest of the evening is gonna be like. Yeah, it looks like we do need to play one of the later card matches first. So let's see if Vena and Zulck would be up for playing their match first. I think the US players were also requesting a slightly later slot, so Zulck is good to go. Now we just need okay from Vena, and we could probably make the rest of the evening fall into place perfectly still. Okay. So gonna play basically the whatchamacallit, maybe the top seed of the evening, if you will. We got Vena's Asuka. It's been a while since we had an Asuka matchup. It's been too long. I mean, you know, we get these once in a while, and I like, understandably, considering how sort of difficult this character is to play and how rare this character is in the grand scheme of things, it's no wonder that we don't see Asuka every day. But man, I've been a little sad that we haven't seen, you know, enough Asuka matches as of recent. For this character is extremely enjoyable to watch, extremely fun to commentate, and you know, just all around probably one of the coolest fighting game characters of all time. Interestingly so, in a sort of fighting game like a Guilty Gear Strive. By that I mean, you know, Guilty Gear is known to be a really wacky game, but Strive did sort of tone down the wackiness a little bit and settled for a slightly more homogeneous sort of template. And in the template that they've built, they're like certain old school really nasty things just can't really exist the same way that they did in the past. So I was really surprised that a character like Asuka was actually conceived for this platform of Guilty Gear. Very, very pleasant surprise as well. And I might be a little bit rusty on my Asuka knowledge as well. It's kind of like when you don't play this character yourself, like once in a while you do have to polish on, you know, your knowledge base a little bit, like, you know, trying to remember the names of the like 10 million different moves, what all the spells do, what all the colors of the cubes do, and stuff like that. But yeah, character is a very fun sort of hybrid, like hybridizing the concept of trading card games a little, where you draw your special moves basically randomly from your decks. You have 3 different decks. Start with the basic one, can switch to a different deck mid-match. They do have slightly different different makeup, different spread of spells. The normal has most amount of like the basic projectiles. The test case, or rather the deck 2 or test case 2 has more of the high-low mix-ups and sort of like basically the mix-up tools, and the deck 3 is all about like S tier utility. So basically kind of a combo deck, if you will. If you let the test case 3 get going, it's basically the hardest to come back from. But it's also, for Asuka, it's the hardest deck to get going, and the highest probability deck to pull a dead hand. So there is definitely a risk involved with, you know, if you choose to go with test case 3 instead of maybe test case 1. I guess it's like the basic Asuka play usually tends to bounce around the test case 1 and 3. So like the standard stuff to start off with, or to basically to get your game started with, and then maybe ending in the test case 3 to close up the seal of the deal. And Zulck, we've been talking a lot about Asuka, but Zulck bringing in that Ramlethal here another relatively rare character. Like, it is interesting considering how much, you know, or how well this character Ramlethal has fared in the power tiers, in the tier lists, the power rankings basically. It's interesting to see how sort of rarely this character is played, at least in the European meta.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. So instead of reflecting
And I
on
think this
themselves,
probably
they
would be the first time that I ever see this matchup being played as well. Ramlethal being like a mid-range poker definitely does have tools to reach Asuka from further ranges, but I think the sword toss is maybe gonna be a really important tool used in a slightly different kind of way than maybe in some other matchups. Because the sword toss can probably be like a joker card, like a trump card for basically saying no to some of Asuka's long-range pressure. But I mean, these players are some of the best representatives of their character. Let's let their gameplay speak for itself. Nice interception with the jump B. Running Vena in the corner. As long as you're working with this corner position, this tool is available. The sword toss. This is that. Oh, wait! I thought that Vena was the one initiating the air throw here, but it ended up being Zulck. Nice sequencing. The sword comes back just in time. Does end up throwing it and getting nullified by YRC, but I think Vena also forced to take the sword explosion after spending the YRC. So not escaping the sort of the fate that befalls on all of Ramlethal's victims, but now falling victim to slightly different kind of gameplay here. This is the Asuka. Ooh, a very rare case of showing Calvados. 100 meter going into it, breaks the wall. Luckily Vena had the mana shield intact still there. So as long as the wizard is holding at least one mana in his casting gauge, he has basically the best defensive modifier applied to him in the game. Even better than big characters like Potemkin. But then to balance that, when the mana actually runs out and you basically take damage to your mana bar, even when you block and get comboed, if that mana bar runs out, you take more damage than Chip himself. So it is a trade-off. Oh, nice interception there. The blue bar, or the blue cube ends up completely whiffing, and Zulck sliding themselves under, catching with the 2K 2D. Aggressive burst, of course you would. You want to keep the opponent in there. The sword comes back. Perfect timing there. The little gap there, the hesitation between the Rekkas and then the sword coming back at the same time, generating this. Like I was a little bit. How should we put this? Seeing that situation unfold, I was a little unsure what I should have done there. Because the sword was slowly returning. You were in the Rekka string. It's like, am I supposed to challenge here? If the sword returns back to Zulck, they're gonna throw it again, and it's gonna be same conundrum all over again. Starting with a 6B, go-to tool to break some of the best bar slashes in the game. I think it does not work against the Ramlethal's 5 heavy because it hits so low to the ground. I forgot if that's the case, actually. And now Vena with a very strong start. And ready to break the wall as well. First time I actually look at Vena's cards, because this has been Zulck's show so far, for the most part. We do go to the test case 3, have... whatchamacallit, the ultimate spell, the gate, the... what is it called again? The Arpeggio? Is that it? Arpeggio available. Oh! Trying to go for the YRC again, but this time Zulck ready to bait it out. And getting a punish in there with the delayed explosion of the sword. Sends the standard pokes. Lands, goes for a 2D. Even if you run out of immediately offensive spells from your hand, you can always use the 2D, which is kind of like a grounded projectile, kind of like immediate Grave Reaper. Right, able to get the knockdown. This means Arpeggio is available. We draw another one as well. Setting it up. Going with the extra gravity staff. Or rather, I guess that was not a gravity staff, that was just the black hole staff, which, oh my god, there we go! There, that's what I've been thinking about! Can we just throw a sword? Can we just say, frick you, and please stop zoning me? Although, of course, you only have one opportunity. The modern swords, one goes downwards, or rather diagonally downwards, and one goes horizontally. If you throw the horizontal sword, it's gonna be gone for a very long time, and you also downgrade your normals associated with it. So it's not the... Ooh, teleport behind into tap 5D. A rapid succession of different kinds of mix-ups. Fire C, plus then the pushing opponent really far away in the modern patches. Juggling with that rainbow cube, we have a pretty decent assortment of chip damage options here. 2 level 5 bit shifts. If Zulck blocks anything, it's over. Was expecting a wire C there. Vena doesn't hit it though. We still have mana left to spend. Oh my god, the throw! Goes for it a little too early. Not breaking the wall. I think this is... I kind of understand why Zulck went for this kind of train of reasoning. I think it's over. There's nothing you can do here. Yeah. The reason why Zulck kind of hesitated breaking the wall there, if you go back to neutral against Vena in that situation, if 0 hit point Ram has to face like basically fully decked out Asuka, then the game would have been over. So the only choice was to like hold the wall break and see what happens. Oh, great counter sword there against the cube toss. Immediately opens the gate. Oh, I like that idea. Try to poke as soon as possible and then follow it up with the lariat, but he didn't quite get there. And now the test case 3. Goodness! Oh my god, was that a cross up? Absolutely dirty kind of gameplay here. I kind of like that. In the previous situation, so Vena did take the horizontal sword in the nogging, and the whole black hole industries kind of gameplay was denied there. But this time, I think set one of the cubes in motion in such an angle that there was basically no way for Zulck to make any sort of projectile game plan, or sorry, any sort of projectile throwing game plan of their own. Very low on mana here, gotta be careful. That is why Deflect Shield was... Wait, huh? Why did we get hit here? I thought the Deflect Shield ended up hitting something. But now with the empty mana gauge, there are very few options available. Vena has to succumb to the domination of the Ram Nation. Kind of dangerous hand here, only one attack spell currently, and the Arpeggio that Vena tried to cast earlier is gone as well. Oh, I think the mana shield had already popped there, so extra damage going through. Zulck taking full advantage of the weakness. When you are out of mana, you take so much damage. Even a single more Tabato combined with a wall break is, I think, more than half of Asuka's life bar. Try to start, I think I saw a red explosion there, so try to start with a Screamer. But unfortunately, was that too slow? Oh, goes under with a 6P. Under the Screamer. Wait, was the airborne Screamer as well? Up goes the Weasel, and now we have extremely good risk reward. Even a single jab is gonna lead into a kill. Zulck plays it as you are supposed to. This time, disengaging from the situation a little bit. Goes for a full jump Screamer, there are a couple of different ways you can utilize that Screamer from the round start, and all of those Screamers, like be it TK or back jump or neutral jump, create slightly different kinds of angles and can call different kinds of options out. But looking like Vena has... Oh no! I was about to say Vena is in a really good position until... Here we go, Deflect Shield, pushes the 2k away, gets a whiff punish with the Particle Cube. One of the strong... Oh, finds the gap in between the spell casts. Now Vena, as at the very tail end of that test case 3, is gonna shuffle it again with the next throw. Doesn't even need to. Finds a hit, goes in with the normals. Oh, nice whiff punish there. Walk backwards and pulse forwards into a 2k after seeing the 6p from Vena with. Half of the mana is gone, and a lot of the hand is also consisting most of the more unconventional spells. That was actually not the greatest opening hand for Vena at all. And still looking for relevant combo pieces. Only one instant attack spell in the hand, goes airborne, throws out the staff, and then opens up the gate so that you can actually have at least some sort of playing pieces on the board. But now, yeah, look at the damage. It was a done deal as soon as he took the hit after the mana shield popping. That was a very unfortunate round for Vena in terms of like what was drawn. But then again, it was like it's kind of exactly what we were talking about earlier. Transitioning into the test case 3 is slightly volatile business. If you want to make sure that you do draw, you know, standard cubes on a regular basis, then you play test case 1. But again, Vena has transferred into that test case 3 very early. Oh, finds the gap. Mortobato having such a great horizontal range is a huge advantage. Some DP characters might not actually reach Asuka as, you know, as he plays his cube throwing pressure. But Mortobato seems to reach from at least like even from a half screen distance, even if you are basically being pressured from a very far away. And adding on to that is the horizontal sword toss as well, which Zulck once again ends up taking the round with here. Good 6p into the cubes, canceling into the lariat. And that's basically your layer 1 counterplay against not Happy Chaos. What's his name? Asuka. Mana shield is gone. Burst is gone. Looking really bad here. Yeah, I think this is just a kill. Maximum amount of damage from the... What is the super called? Damn. Suffering from aphasia once again. Very high angle here. Gold Burst ends up whiffing it again. So Zulck already has a chokehold of sorts on Vena. Wasn't quite able to break it with the heart knockdown, but now the interception with the jump B. The mana slowly depleting. Next hit is gonna be a pop. Tries to go for a mortal, but boy, interesting kind of play here. I wonder if that was a missed trigger finger there on hit confirm, or if that was just kind of a reaction to seeing the deflect shield. Either way, Vena has been able to recover the mana back. So now we can potentially live one more combo, or even mount our own offense. Oh, the hand is a little clunky. But Vena goes for the... I think the rumor has it that this is kind of Vena's... whatchamacallit? Vena's kind of signature play. When going gets too rough, when hand is too bad, teleport, or try to build a lot of height, jump as high as possible, try to teleport as high as possible and stall, try to draw a better hand, try to get some sort of opening to get better game pieces on the board. Starting with very standard hand here, goes under with the 6p though once again. Zulck has been really good at judging the distance And it's not the easiest thing either. The further you are from Asuka, the more dangerous the the green cubes, the cluster of 3 cubes become. Because they spread the further they travel, so the further they travel, the harder they are to go under as well. Ouch! That's damage. Is maybe even emotional damage, maybe not. I think a lot of Asuka players have been in this position before, where you just run out of mana and you have to accept that life is cruel sometimes. And you know what else is cruel? Vena's hand. Having an assortment of all of those staffs, definitely not what you're looking for to get your game started. This is death right. That's his loss. And Zulck, completely merciless, clawing forward, smacking those swords around. Vena trying to catch a break, going into the test case immediately after the initial hit. Teleport right in front of Zulck. That time Zulck was not ready to react though. Looking much better here. The saving grace for Zulck is the burst, which usually you kind of wanna try to make when the opponent is low on resources, low on cards, or if you're expecting a teleport. It's surprisingly important to hold that burst for potential teleport mix-ups. There we go, Vena doing the high jump into drawing more cards. Maintaining a couple of bit shifts, especially of the level 5 kind, sending the 5 projectiles onwards. The bit shift, basically all the bit shifts nowadays work the same. They start with level 1, and the longer they stay in your hands, the more projectiles they will generate. Look at this, YRC, way too far away, can't gain access to the opponent. This was a certified Asuka game. Finally getting a little bit of good draw luck. But I mean, didn't get that for free either. Vena had a really bad hand early to the previous round, where they had to jump really high and try to cycle those spells, try to basically mulligan a better kind of hand. A familiar place here in the left corner. Falls straight into the sword explosion. Mortabato, literally one mana left. Block anything and it's over. It's Jover. It's so Jover. With the late air backdash overhead option, classic Guilty Gear high-low mix-up, ends up finding a hit. And I mean, even if Zulck didn't, it was probably really close to over as well. Asuka is truly like an epitome of, like, it's so over or we're so back kind of a character. Because you can feel really good when you are actually in your victory condition and when you are cycling your hand perfectly and just have all of your buffs out, have your black hole out, have a sea of cubes, unending, uncrossable border of basically projectiles. But on the other hand, when you're back against the corner, you don't have any of your resources, you have no mana, it's equally as desperate during those times. But I mean, a lot of the Asuka players have said I do through sickness, to good times and the bad, sickness and health. Stick with your character, eventually the good times will come. Goes for a hard bait here, Zulck doesn't bite, and they don't have to either. They are up 1 round, so you could potentially go to your grave holding onto this burst, and it's gonna be an okay play. On the other hand, Vena has no choice but to unleash it. And even if you did get the win here with the burst, that is a huge disadvantage going into this last round of the game number 7. Oh, runs head straight into the blue cube, sorry, the green cube. I guess I'm colorblind. Oh, with a cross up. I think Zulck ended up taking the hit even before the teleport went off. One bit shift in hand and a dream. Oh, okay, we get a hard knockdown here. Actually, we get a kill here. I was about to say, things are gonna get really rough here unless Vena somehow wraps it up real quick with this hand or is able to get a hard knockdown to shuffle it around. But I mean, Asuka is also about calculated risks. You see a lot of Asuka players sometimes not just not care much about the hand. If you have the opponent in a chokehold, if you need only one more hit, then maybe it's okay to just go in with even a suboptimal hand and just use your normals instead. Meta Shield does come back here, so Vena pretty okay, despite the fact that your hand is looking a little suboptimal to get things started. Basically only one standard attack spell in hand. So it's especially tough. Oh, nice spacing here for Zulck. Staying away from the potential YRC range. It did turn into a blue RC in the end. Staircase to the ground, wastes a little bit of time, sword comes back, good sequencing. However, hesitating a little bit too much, Vena finds a gap to cast them spells, and spells we're gonna cast heal. Test case 3, lock and loaded, black hole is created. What you gonna do? One touch in to push into the corner, into more corner pressure, into more guard crush, into more fun. Finds a frame trap into the Rekka. That was really important for Zulck. That not only managed to get a wall break, but also potentially buy time for the swords to come back. If the opponent, was not gonna go through the wall with that sequence. Yeah, has the RC here. That could have potentially been whiff punished. Vena was holding onto that bit shift as well, so the whiff punish would have happened basically from any range. With the double jump again, I think Vena tried it. Vena tried to go airborne, tried to spread his wings and tried to fly. But Zulck had a really good read here, going for a double jump and intercepting Vena out of the sky with the jump deep before the cycling could even happen. I think it's really important. Again, goes for the airborne cycling. Only one attack spell in the hand at the moment. Able to flip sides, utilizing those utility spells as best as possible. Again, his hand looks a little bit more better. One utility, one payoff, one standard poke cube. But we need to get out of this situation. Deflect shield and 50 is available. The usual escape plan was thwarted there, I think. Got the deflect shield, but couldn't get the particle cube cast or particle sphere cast because you were locked down by the sword toss explosion. And having extended those critical resources, Zulck now able to keep the prey in the corner. 3-6. Started with a neutral jump, Screamer, and then the freezing spell. I forgot what the freezing spell is called. Is it a Kilometron? Has slightly changed in function. Used to be a DP, but from a slightly lackluster DP, or a DP that just cost a little bit too much mana to be ever used successfully, into a... I'm not actually sure what the function of the new Kilometron is nowadays. It does freeze the opponent, but... Oh, nice moves. Oh, and wait! That was outside of YRC's range. Why? It looked like Vena was close enough, but it must have been a couple of pixels too far away from the critical range. Vena was airborne as well, though, so that must have counted for something. Unleashing a barrage from the skies. Lots of bit shifts. Cycling through a lot of these spells. Has the... Oh, nice teleport to the other side. Immediate cast into the Rainbow Cube. Zulck has no way but to burst here. If the wall break was to happen, it was probably going to be over. Oh, good hit here. Once again, the hand was a little bit clunky, but Vena making the best of dire situations. Finds the hit. Finds a way to use the arpeggio and then cycle into much better hand. I say that, but this hand is pretty clunked as well. I mean, at least there's a level 5 bit shift. Do we get to see it? Yes, but maybe no. That's not a YRC, but maybe it's even better than YRC. Oh, but the interruption there with the Mordobato.
Duel 3.
Set point Zulck. It's a live and die kind of situation. Live or die, Vena. Make your choice. Oh, okay, we're doubling up into Wild Assault, into more pressure. Have the 50 to break the wall. Lots of different options we could do here. Can't even go for the safe jump. Zulck doesn't have the 50 meter for Mortubato yet. The burst has to come out sooner or later. Or maybe never! Oh! Vena actually, I think, accidentally gave Zulck an opportunity to burst. After wall break, burst is disabled. But because they went for a burst there, Zulck was able to get an extra opportunity to burst, and they immediately took it. Not that it'll, you know, Vena was still able to hold on to that, hold onto the round and keep the set going, but yeah, small little things can snowball into big little things. Wasting time here. I think this, oh, okay, it was just land as a hit. I think the idea was for Vena to buy a little bit of time with the particle. Are you kidding me? From the extended round start position, uses arpeggio, but Ramlethal still in range to hit it. Tap the 5D, that should be a kill. Yeah, quick routing into Mortubato once again. Set point. Your move again, Vena. Are we gonna go into the next round, or are we just gonna perish here like a wizard? Right, able to get enough distance between Ram and Asuka to cast spells, and oh boy, does it feel good to cast spells. Oh, nice teleport there. Getting a mix-up between the fireballs. Zulck unleashing the burst as soon as available. Now working with the corner. Luckily for Vena, the mana gauge is rather high, so all of these combos are gonna land onto massive defense modifier, allowing Vena to still live another combo. But can they live another one? Yes, they can! But that's the last one. That's the last straw. PRC, Deflection, what's happening here with the momentum? I don't know, but somehow Zulck is approaching like a missile, despite the pushback. It was looking like extremely Zulck-oriented set towards the mid-game, but Vena was able to mount a little bit of a comeback there, making it still competitive. 7-4 in a matchup that you probably have, if never seen before, or like if you have seen this matchup before, probably not very often. For this is one of the first times that I get to watch it as well. Good hustle. Right, we got Froyo back, so that means we can go back to the previous matchup slot and unleash some classic Ino to Faust action. A very cursed matchup in older Guilty Gear. This used to be one of the, you know, one of the infamously worst matchup in Guilty Gear's history. Kind of on the same level as, I guess, Slayer versus Potemkin. But I mean, a lot of these OG bad matchups have been basically disintegrated, have disappeared as the meta has been completely shaken by the new mechanics of this modern Guilty Gear. And I've in fact heard some rumors that this wouldn't actually be that bad for Ino after all. Or despite everything. Some even say that this could be an okay matchup for Ino, which is really strange, like if you are an OG player and try to use your OG knowledge of Guilty Gear. But yeah, I guess the historical reason used to be that your movement is so set in stone, and Faust pokes are so damn good at reaching all of the angles that you could ever kind of hope to sort of inhabit on the screen. So a lot of the times buttons like the Alt 5 the old 5K, for example, for Faust would control so much space that just didn't really have like good options to get things started. But of course, a lot of things are different. The character toolkits are slightly different, especially Faust's toolkit tends to be very, very different compared to what it used to be. But also the sort of the screen space is much more limited. So now you get to be a little bit closer to Faust on a regular basis, allowing you to be able to sort of force the RPS a little bit more than you maybe used to be able to. And I mean, I guess there's the fact that Faust also is not the absolute Terminator that he used to be in just about every single previous Guilty Gear iteration. Like, this is one of the first times ever that Faust is not considered absolute top tier Guilty Gear character, believe it or not. It's a very strange, like a perverse kind of universe. If you started Guilty Gear with Strive, you would be like, what the hell is this Faust guy? But I mean, he's been basically the top dog for as long as a lot of us can remember. So maybe it was time for a meta shakeup. One character can't stay top tier forever, can they? Is that allowed? Is it allowed that Johnny has been? I mean, I say that, but like even in Guilty Gear Strive, Johnny no longer necessarily the absolute boogeyman they maybe was in some of the previous patches. And I mean, Johnny also paid for sort of paid for the equilibrium quota back in the day, not being the most strong character in XX series. But let's come back to the modern Guilty Gear. We got Froyo versus Worst.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
And I think Froyo has been on an absolute tear as of recent. Wait, was it Froyo who has been basically the Fin Slayer? This would be another skull on her belt of trophies here, as far as like finished targets go. If Froyo does manage to take this, oh nice, oh I wonder if the hammer hit there ended up screwing the combo. I mean, we're still got the side switch, which is the most important thing here. Swinging a miss with the 6B, and Froyo is in basically win condition. Frame trap into the close slash. You have to play really aggressively, even on defense against Ino, because the worst thing that can happen is Ino gets a jump in, gets a mix up, you block it correctly, and then she doubles up with a 6-6 into the float dash and gets another opportunity to mix you up. You have to interrupt those, but usually that requires you to press buttons, so if she ends up frame trapping you instead, then you can already see where this logic is going. Alright, Trumpet behind. Let's see if Worst chooses to go forward or go backwards. Forward is the key. We aren't cowards here. We push the advantages that we've been given. And from a spat out Trumpet, I wonder if that ended up playing even a little bit of a way on the mental stack there. Even though it was basically a dud item. We'll be able to pick up this one. Ooh, counter hit. Gotta be really careful here. The bomb! Oh no! Bomb ends up hitting both players somehow. Cancel into the smick. Good 5 BP. That ends up often being the go-to tool to poke Ino out of the forward dashes as well. Ooh, going under there with a 2P. And now, time to mix it up. You are still in block stun, getting hit by the low. Froyo is building a lot of resources that won't be seen again. Sarabada. We're going into the next round. All of that 100 sweet juice ain't gonna play any factor here, as Worst is able to eliminate Froyo strategically before any of those resources could be utilized. Ooh, that's a good one. Teleport to the other side. Unfortunately, the tracking of the meteors ended up completely missing Froyo. I guess because she had some amount of forward-moving momentum there. It's a very, very acute hot potato minigame that you're playing there. Oh, the 5P still not reaching even despite the Afro. Lighting it on fire, utilizing it immediately. Worst playing the perfect distances here. You kind of don't, like, if possible. Oh, the item super giveth, the item super taketh as well. And producing some really good specimen there for preventing Froyo in the corner. Or sorry, keeping Froyo in the corner, preventing her from moving out of there. Alright, with the B&B combo, we're gonna break. Lots of damage. Faust is a zero guts character, so taking basically full damage from start to the end. Which means the end is here. The end is nigh. One of the most potential candidates. Oh, can we chase? Not quite. The mix ends up recovering just in the nick of time. Try to go for a 2P to unleash the 5-framer. Ooh, the 2 heavy still active. Able to pick up the trumpet. The mix. Spins up the bomb to the other side. Escape from the corner using the mix as well. Such a multifaceted tool. You can steer it around, so it has a lot of different kinds of applications for, you know, how you want to position yourself. From combos to block strings, and maybe even escapes. I mean, it's basically a Faust's version of escape Tatsu, isn't it? Alright, Froyo puts one on the board as well. The fight is on. The hands have been shaken. Let's see if the players are shook or ready to go.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh, and got the trumpet as well there. Utilizing the little guys to go for a double up. Another 6-6, another mix. And now, ooh, okay, so landing just in front of Worst. Trying to be really cute with the movement. Yeah, you have to do a lot of like sort of micro adjustments, like cute little taps. If you want to kind of, wait, what did we trade with? Mix RC keeping the pressure going. Worst on the tail end of their life bar. The little guy goes off screen prematurely as well. Afro is lit. Let's see what this gameplay is. Gonna end up being nice. The active hitbox there. Gonna be, oh my god, look at that. The brilliance routing there from Worst. Jump canceling at the perfect timing to make the bomb whiff on himself and make it explode on Froyo. That's exactly the reason why we love Faust players and Faust in general so much. Intercepting with the jump slash. Ooh, to the other side, was that a cross-up? No one knows. But Froyo was definitely not happy about that. Unleashing the burst, putting Worst in the corner, trying to bait the burst. Trying to bait again. Worst literally does not have to go for it yet if he doesn't want to. Goes for it still though. I mean, it's a good burst. We are in an advantage position. Teleport out of the note. Straight in Froyo's face, and a close slash counter hit is the melody of destruction that Worst brought to the table. Gotta be really careful here with some of those tools that put you in a lot of recovery, such as the note. I mean, usually like the threat is that the note. Ooh, can we get a punish? No. Worst actually steering backwards, making that save. Usually the threat with the note is that there is in fact a projectile coming at you. But I mean, if you can teleport through the projectile, that is a prospect. Apply Afro, time to mix it up from one of the most fun Faust situations that you could ever set up for. 5k, bring them out of the sky. Not risking with the air throw, although air throw could have been a pretty good option as well. I mean, I think it's never in Guilty Gear Strive a mistake to poke the opponent out of the air while they are airborne, because that does lead into a lot of plus frames, a lot of forced recovery frames for the opponent. Can't approach, even with the fireball. Ooh, did we crouch under there on the second note as well? 6p into mix. It's gonna be safe. In fact, I think that's gonna be plus. Speaking of those airborne frames, even moves that are usually absolutely punishable, absolutely way too dangerous to unleash, are gonna be relatively safe when unleashed on an airborne opponent. Oh, that's gonna be a problem. Although, wait, is it because you are in block stun already that the 10th on hammer ended up not being an unblockable? Or wait, does it have to miss so it creates just shockwave? Bonk! Hammer keeping Froyo docile here. And then the guard crush from the meteors brings her straight into the dangerous territory, throwing a lot of good stuff. That's a little guy. And an explosion. More explosions. Bring out the Michael Bay. Oh, gets mixed up by the second overhead jump, D, my beloved. And then into checkmate, land low. Keep the mix-ups going from all directions, or at least from the high and the low angles. I guess Ino is no longer that much about the left-rights as she used to be in Exert. More about the high-low, and sometimes the strike throw. But mostly about the high-low. Right. Oh no! Dashes straight into the hammer, the de facto best item in Faust's kit. The little guy also holding down the fort, combo breaking for worst. Ooh, that was nice. Even though Froyo is trying to guide the missile as close to the ground as possible, the crawl makes Faust so low profile. It's hard to gain access to him. 2-2. Not the piece of clothing, but referring to the point situation here. Oh, that is a punish though. And Worst picked up the best of the best for it as well. It's really great when you know all of your frame data and know all of your guaranteed punishes so that you can get, basically so that you can get close slash as often as possible, I guess is what a lot of characters want to do. Gets 1-2p in, but not a good Gatling into anything. What is Ino's 2 like mash Gatling anyway? Is it like a 2p, 2p, 6p for the most part? Into wall break, can break with the super. Of course we're gonna do, because we are that kind of set play oriented character. Never let the opponent run away. If you can, always set it up for your win condition. Oh, nice read there. Just in case the burst is gonna come out, drifting backwards. But Worst making all the safe decisions here, not committing to the combo breaker. Oh, tried to go for a, I think it was a 5p against Chemical Love. Oh my goodness, all the right items. Froyo's had enough, bursting Worst into the corner. However, Worst, pretty decent wins here, able to break out of there without using a burst of his own. In fact, oh wait, that's a lot of junk happening. Going under though, stroke the big tree, avoiding all the fun stuff, and then into mix-up. Worst could be thinking about burst here very soonish. Or even has to if he gets hit even more, even once more. Oh, okay. Even better, doesn't even have to, can take it to the last round. Froyo also has accumulated her fair share of that burst resource. First hit goes in Worst's favor. Hoping for the blue burst to be back rather sooner than later. We're gonna go through the wall though. That was a really fast wall break. You would have had the burst immediately if you wanted to completely avoid that. Resource situation really good for Worst. I mean, not too bad for Froyo either, to be perfectly honest. still anybody's game. Teleports through the projectile once again. Close slash to the other side. 2K into wild assault, into throw. Spend all the resources, it's okay. We're ever so close to that victory anyway. And those resources left unspent aren't gonna do any good for you after the slash has been called and you are in the victory screen. So spend all of it before it's too late. Oh, the hammer is still there. Dirty stuff. Now drilling over this jump the big tree? Stroke the big tree with the jump 2K. Jump the big tree, huh? What would that look like? Damn, getting some good hammers here. Froyo trying to force the situation, another good item. Could use it to set up some Oki shenanigans here, making sure that you absolutely have the frame advantage after the close slash. I mean, generally close slash from Faust does not have any frame advantage, it's actually -1. But I guess you can create some frame advantage by utilizing your items. The frame trap here. Not working out for worst, and that's gonna be a punish. Too close for comfort. Goes for it with a 2K. Small combo and then disengaging. Trying to, I think the idea was probably to trigger the little guy as soon as possible. Well, it is triggered here, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Good block on the FRC mix-up as well. And the other one, oh my god! Good defense for Froyo. You know, players not necessarily known for their defensive capabilities, being like all stats in offensive stats kind of a design, but good defense from Worst as well. The tail end frame trap there with the stroke to victory though, catching Worst trying to exit the pressure. Select the explosions, we go low this time. Oh, there's a hammer as well, comboing off a bit. In a situation like that where you're kind of hoping to chain two mixes together, is it like, it might be actually a bad thing that your items find their mark, because they introduce a lot of like gravity decay. Ooh, able to drill through before the node goes active. Far slash preventing the 6-6 going active. No float dashing. In fact, I'm gonna float dash at you. Here's my mix. And here's an actual mix. Jump 2K. Can you be safe? Yes, indeed. Blocking in the nick of time. Oh my god! Why is he too far away? Worst working just the absolutely disgusting distance. A strategy available for these characters who can and will poke you with those far range pokes. And even though Faust is not necessarily the furthest range of them, you have some really good prospects for playing that kind of like, especially boxing in the corner kind of gameplay, utilizing, you know, the base of your kit, but then also the items that you work in tandem with. There's a lot of like different stuff that you can throw on the ground. The hammers, the bombs, the weights, the everything. The little guys that basically prevent your opponent from playing the game. And if you can't poke out from the corner, then like what are you gonna do? You're gonna jump against Faust? Right, this time Faust wants to break through the out of the corner using the burst. So much meter on Froyo. Double bomb! Oh, the double bomb! It would have been so cool. It was a kind of a fresh bomb, so it did explode there, sort of in the background or below ground, as Worst was going for the air combo. Would have been a really nice Michael Bay finish. The 2S not working out this time. The far slash from Worst, or was that 5 heavy? Ends up counter poking. We do have some disjoints in this house as well. Has to spend RC here. That's way too high of a mix hit. The trumpet is left behind, but we have some goodies here. It could still be picked up. Backdash into. Oh, nice sequencing from Froyo. Worst would have had to be on the same page there and ready to anti-air. Oh no! The mix ends up missing critically. And now you're basically guessing for your life. Goes for the empty low, I like that.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
Trade definitely not in Ino's favor. Yeah, Faustus always had the 6B that tends to trade with a lot of characters more often than not, but from the trade, oh, can we sequence well here? Drops the combo. I think gave worst frame advantage there. But I mean, what do you do? What can you do? Unless you go for some sort of like absolutely massive RC play. Again, good items thrown for worst. Little guys, hammers, explosions. The 2S. Keeping Froyo safe that time though. Lots of little guys. Using it for a tick throw. Now last mix-up, light the Afro on fire, and then go for the F Shiki for your standing hitbox is so tall that you can make that jump D into basically an instant overhead. Worst is running away with the lead. Can Froyo put an end to it? Yeah, Worst is just so good at like dashing forward and watching the opponent. If you see the opponent float forward, it's immediately into an anti-air. Oh, little guy is gonna be activated here. Yep, has to wait it out. Not too bad of a prospect for Froyo, I guess. Still holding down the corner boxing, or this is like not even corner boxing. This is just straight up brutality from close distance. Yeah, that's the kind of Ino rounds that you usually want to see. Knock them down early. Keep them docile. Keep the mix-ups going. And deal the damage slow and steady. Actually, not really not. Oh no! Got hit by the meteors there. Able to get a really nicely tuned float dash in through all of the grounded threats. And now here's a grounded threat for you. Block this or don't block it. I don't care. Finally, Froyo finds the burst. Has been trying to hunt for it for so long. And after all of those attempts, Worst has to yield. Worst has to press it. There was no way out of the situation otherwise. A bomb. Sent the loop. Oh no, never mind. I was about to say. Becomes null and void. But in the follow-up situation, in a absolutely perfect distance for the explosion. Hammer. Ooh, good maneuvering here for Froyo. Stays airborne just a critical amount of time to avoid it. But the tap 5D. Not converted successfully. What went wrong there? I thought it would have been a surefire way to get a wall break, unless Worst just didn't want to take the wall break just yet. We do take it from the Ino side though. Time to mix it up. Oh, just a 6 heavy? That must have been some sort of a miss input. Generally not the kind of okay option that you're happy to unleash on the Red Witch. Utilizing slightly farther away game plan this time with the chemical loves. Although, yeah, I guess it's a cool thing that you can kind of steer yourself backwards with the chemicals now. So like you can unleash it from a distance where it's almost like an instant air dash back chemical love. Like a very similar sequence that a lot of other characters play when they want to move backwards and use some of their big disjoints. Good round for Froyo. Now Worst with the burst advantage can go for a momentum breaker or a combo breaker way earlier than what Froyo has access to. Oh, that's a good angle. Makes the 6B whiff and then gets in. I swallowed a little guy. That could become useful. In fact, unleashes it immediately. Did it get triggered though? No. Still on the patrol. Can we trigger it? There it is! Chaining it into the horde of monsters. Oh, it's a low profile. Stroke the big tree. Beats Jump 2K. Rare footage of. Although Jump 2K, not necessarily the absolute demon button that it used to be. Wait, that's not a punish? Or wait, was maybe Froyo expecting the RC to come out? Well, either way, basically in a checkmate here. I think I saw an attempt to break the throw, but unfortunately, that ain't gonna do against the command grab. I think Froyo has officially broken the momentum from that 2-5 situation, getting 2 in a row. Now basically on the tail of worst. Could go anywhere from this point on. And in fact, even if you are on a lower amount of score, the momentum is definitely favoring Froyo for now. And maybe the vibes as well, who knows, depending on how Worst is able to maneuver this roller coaster. Like for some players, it really is a roller coaster of emotions. And once again, teleporting through the note. Into a close slash, into a decent combo, drop them in the corner, tap them with the overhead. A familiar formula that you don't really have to go tampering with. Wait, there's basically nothing here for Froyo, was airborne. However, the great 5B mash out of the mix-up situation. Look at that, the Afro makes the jump heavy hit from an absolute disgusting distance. Conversion into a heart knockdown. What's it gonna be? How much resources do Froyo have? Does have a reversal super and soon to be blue burst as well, which those are probably gonna be utilized very soon. Nice snipe there with the chemical. Oh, can we go airborne? Nice cancel into Madlam. I wonder if the combo would have flown into that resolution anyway, but good on Froyo. Like, if not so, routing into the exact thing that needed to happen. Can we get a punish? Oh, but wait, was that a hit or not? Ah, so close. It's another one of those where Worst is blazing forward with a lot of momentum, steering forward with the mix, and Froyo trying to give chase with the hover dash. I keep saying float dash, but I think the real community term is usually hover dash, right? I guess you would have to be content with maybe like a chemical lava snipe instead. It is slightly smaller, but, you know, missing a punish is pretty bad as well. Can we combo into the bomb? Yes, indeed, but not from the side, not from the point of view that you were thinking. You were thinking it was going to be worse, but it is in fact Froyo. What can we do with a... Oh no! Froyo has played the bomb situation, the hot potato situations really well. Double hammer. Froyo has to hold her momentum for a little bit. And now into too heavy whiff. Still anybody's game. In fact, it's Worst advantage with the little guy. Froyo with the FRC. Wait, that was whiff something into a punish. I'm not sure what that was. Throw whiff maybe? Was a really fuzzy situation there, landing from the float dash. From the hover dash. Hover dash, please. Get it straight into your head. QK. Just a bare miss with the mix. Jump 2K finds its mark. Jump over the fishing pole. That's really great. Especially if the opponent is holding on to it or charging it. Making the startup even slower. Meteor's coming. Spits it. Spitting facts. The fact of the matter of today is the meteors are gonna whiff, and then you are in a life disadvantage of epic proportions. Let's see if Worst gives a shit about the odds. We still play it. That's all the resources. Oh no, I think it's over. Yep. Into the low. Froyo. Inching closer, like a shark, ready to bite. Who's gonna bite a piece out of this cake in the end? Worst needs one, Froyo needs two. Okay, with a stroke the big... Oh my god, what is this gameplay? Stroke the big tree into a stroke the big tree into 5D tap. That must have been a misinput, I reckon. Unless... using the threat of the impending explosions to hold Froyo in steady position for a throw. Extremely good start for this round on Frost. Frost? Worst! The Frost guy. That's a lot of items. One of them was Meteor. Oh my god! Slip into your own banana peel. That was tragic! Teleporting into what was supposed to be a mix-up for you. I think it's okay still. There were a couple of extra utilitarian items on the ground. A couple of little extras helping you recover from that colossal oopsie. Froyo doubling up into a premature, whatchamacallit, Mad Love. Raise the pressure. I mean, eventually, the little guy is gonna be triggered. It triggers here into the bomb. Double jump to avoid the impending projectile. Opponent is airborne, so we are plus. Gets a counter hit with a close slash. Momentum slingshot into FRC into I win. Set point still for worst. Could be over very soon. The danger zone. Oh, both players trying to contest the hot potato, getting some of that good old let's die together kind of action. Now despite... Oh, this is finishing with style. Look at that Rockstar. I think it's enough, right? Zero guts. Yep. And with the wall break, extra damage there as well. Zero guts. Wall break. Raw command grab. Yeah, that's a wrap. Although we do have one more game to go. 6-6 Froyo has been able to bring it back from some really grim numbers earlier. That's why you never say die. If you want to make the most entertaining sets happen that will be remembered by all of your grandkids and all the generations that come after you, you have to fight from an absolute dog water situation. That's how legends are built. And in fact, Froyo with a really nice advantage here. Good block, recognizing that the frames were slowed down and that Worst basically had an opportunity to anti-air here. Set point. For Froyo, that is. I mean, duh. Faced overhead, however, opponent, I think, airborne there, so faced a really hard conversion. But now, no whiff punish there on the 6B. Tries it again, there we go, with the Chemical Love. Very low profile, Worst. Oh, straight into a 2K, into a big combo. Drops it, that could have been it. But I mean, you have to counterplay the burst sooner or later. Now, good news for Froyo, that burst ain't gonna come back. And you have 100. The worst news, you have to use your own. Oh, some celebratory explosions! Don't drop it, and you're the winner! You are, in fact, the winner! Froyo slays another Finnish representative and continues the march onward. Bring me more entertainment. Bring me stronger opponents. Really nice comeback there. I was almost sure that Worst just had a chokehold on the game there. And there was a really great amount of, like, the kind of plays that you would usually expect from Faust players from Froyo. Staying out of the range of some of the explosions, the bouncing items, the little guys. Really good understanding of the opponent's opponent's tools. All right, last one. This is last one, is it? Did we play? Yeah, we played Vena versus Zulck already, so we have reached the final spectacle of the evening. Let's hope that our US representatives are awake and ready to go. This is relatively early into the day for especially like Midwest and West Coast players. I think the players for the most part represent like the sort of the western end of US, if I recall correctly. Which is kind of cool that we had, you know, two US players from around the sort of the same ballpark kind of area, because it would even be relatively difficult to match like West Coast and East Coast US players. It's kind of same as matching like maybe like Central Europeans with like Asian people. Like the distance is quite large. Either way, let me stop talking smack and and call our players in. He's like, oh yeah, I have to do this this TOing business here. Oh right, I'm running the whole show. Oh shit. Wait, what is Santis, or is it this one? Right. Okay, another sequel to our streak of US competitors. I think we've had like straight month of US competitors recently, which is kind of cool. It's it feels good when you can reach more than where your sort of comfort level usually is as a TO. And of course, like depending on what continent you represent, you usually have your primary connections in sort of put in one basket. And the same way, Bounty Hunters has the most influence in the EMEA region at the moment. So it's really cool to get to see like some of what North America has to offer. Especially like when we do manage to get those like US versus European matches set up. I mean, generally like after the rollback netcode era started, it's been like it hasn't been that uncommon to build some really good matches between like East Coast US and West Coast Europe players. And those connections tend to work like pretty okay. Like not the most flawless thing, but not the worst thing either. In fact, like some of those matches are like way better with rollback netcode than some of the matches like even within Europe that we used to have. Like God forbid somebody from like Nordic Europe connecting to like regions like France pre-rollback era, just completely impossible. But the game has changed and the world has changed for the better, I hope. At least the technology is getting better. I think we have one of our one of our players ready to go. Oh gosh. Get a couple of celebratory shit. Fuck. Let me drink some water before I embarrass myself. Although that is what we do here. That is what we do, embarrass ourselves on a regular basis. And after this matchup, do not miss the hot action going on at the other side of the pond, or technically on the same side of the pond if you, depending on your point of view for this match. For Frosty Faustings are still on. And I think Strive is going to be the main game, sort of quotations, the main game for day number 3. We had, I think, XX on Friday, Exert yesterday, and then the big finale is gonna be this. It's kind of cool that you have like one of the Guilty Gear games being like the main culprit for each of the primary tournament days. I've been personally watching a little bit more of 2XKO and Exert this time around. So I'm not actually super sure what the placings of Guilty Gear Strive look at the moment, other than the fact that there was a lot of Enos. Damn, do we have Dingo though? Would be tragic if we can't have this super anticipated fated duel with a very iconic, like very fitting kind of a character set up here for this evening in particular, because we've had a lot of like long range character versus infighter kind of matches tonight, pretty much all the way through. I think the Asuka versus Ram was maybe the only, no, I guess the Faust versus Ino was the sort of the odd match out in a way. Say it isn't so, senpai. Do we just not have Dingo on the line? I mean, technically it's not the worst thing, because like I too do want to transition into watching Frosty Faustings like as soon as possible. We'll give it a couple of more minutes. Yeah, that's always one of the problems. I mean, it's almost good for East Coast because it's only like what? It's usually like past noon, somewhat, when the sort of the primary cluster of our matches happen. But for like the sort of Midwest or the Western area, I think both of you guys were like from around like Nevada and like that direction. It is pretty damn early in the morning. That is true. That is absolutely true. And that is one of the downfalls of sort of trying to secure matches between two different regions of the planet. Yeah. tempted to stall out time to pull out the Frosty Faustings brackets. So let's see, Frosty Faustings 2026. Let's try, let's see what we get. Are they in Start GG? They should be, right? So it's top. Is it still in? It's still in pool stages, right? So it's like it's way too early to kind of see who's in there, or is it? Wait, no. No, we basically have our top. What is this top? It's a lot of players left still. Are there any EU representatives still alive? Of course, Verix is still in the winner's side, representing Africa more than Europe for sure. Don't recognize a lot of the other names. Or like at least I don't recognize a lot of these names as people, or like as EMEA participants. Sad also for Team Sin that a lot of the Sin representation was basically eliminated completely, as far as I'm aware. The winner's side of the bracket definitely looks like whatchamacallit, looks like, you know, the usual suspects. Oh no, wait, we have Dasein. Dasein is still in there, representing Europe. Okay, so Europe still has a chance of sorts, I guess. Yeah, I guess it kind of looks like we might have to call it here. So, apologies for that. It sometimes do be. I guess yeah. Maybe I didn't communicate the times like perfectly accurate. I should pay attention in the future to sort of make sure that the US participants are also like completely aware, like around the times that these games tend to happen. Even if we put the North American matches at the tail end of the set or tail end of the event, it can still be like slightly confusing to like comprehend when your match is actually gonna start. And we are to a certain extent a little bit ahead of schedule. Like I think usually the last matches tend to conclude around or after like 3 hours since the event started. But yeah, looks like we're gonna have to call it here this time. Maybe we can still, you know, have maybe we can still have these players later on the show in the future. But yeah, either way, if you're wondering about how to sign up for this or be part of this fun, you could, for example, join the Discord where the sign-up forms are going to be posted. And we'll try to match you up with somebody who you have a good connection to and is of your of your respective skill level. Same stuff next week, every Sunday, 5 p.m. CET, which is Central European time. And with that said, yeah, I basically have nothing else to add. Go watch Frosties. And I think a lot of people already are. We see you again next Sunday. Till then, stay safe and yeah, all the good for you gamers. Bye bye.